Hello,
Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez. How are you doing?
Mr. Rodriguez.
You having a great day? I hope so. Anyways, this is Math 3 and farming. Let's go.
Hi. We are farmers Gilbert and Tob. I am Gilbert, he is Tob.
I am Tob.
I am
Let us
Tob.
continue. These are some quick facts. In 2015, $133.1 billion worth of American agriculture products were
Billion.
exported around the world.
Billion!
Billion dollars. Billion.
You know who made those? Us.
Us.
Me and Gilbert.
We are team.
I mean Tob and Gilbert.
we are interlocked. Like lesbian
We
relationship.
made billions of dollars. Us farmers. Our hard work. We are
Hard
the backbone of America.
The backbone.
Of the world.
I agree with this statement. Let us continue.
Agriculture is the single largest employer in the world. If you think about it, we provide for the whole world.
This is true.
We make all the food, and we are underappreciated.
This
No
is true.
appreciation. But you know what? I trying to make a difference, trying to get farmers out there. That's why I want you to come out and be a farmer like me and Tob.
Yes, this is a letter for all of you fancy teenagers who think that you need to go to college to get a grade.
College is a scam.
It's a scam. If you want to make money and be happy in your life, you need to join the agricultural industry. Because I joined when I was 16 after I dropped out of high school, after I learned all I should after Math 3.
The
I dropped out and I joined the agriculture world and I bought all the rice I could with my savings. And I made a farm. Let us continue though. It made me very, very, very rich.
Farmers account for about 2% of the population. The population of America, I don't even know, but I looked it up, and the 2% of population is about 13 million.
It's about
Us
13
farmers
million.
make up 13 million, and guess what we do? Feed the whole country.
Feed the whole country.
You could be a part of that 2%. That's a special group right there. Not a lot of people can be in there if you think about 2%.
But everyone can join. We are employing. Let us continue though. Let us continue to the next slide.
My name is Gilbert. I farm potatoes in Burnt Corn, Alabama. I started when I was a little boy. Me and my grandma, we start farming. And then it all fell apart after World War III.
It's a very sad day.
Next slide. I don't even
Next
talk. I
slide.
don't even want to talk about it.
Next slide.
I use math about on the regular, because math 3, very important.
More important.
I calculate the potatoes that I sprout using exponential growth formula. I take the potatoes I started with, how many I expect to grow, and how many months it takes, or how many weeks it takes. And that's how I calculate every time.
This is true.
Next slide.
Next slide, let us continue. My name is Farmer Tob. I am a rice farmer from Paderborn, Mississippi. I love my job, I love my wife, I love my kids, and I love my farmer company.
Don't forget about the goats.
I love the goats. They help so much with the weeds. Anyways, I love my partner company, Gilbert Farms. I bought him out when he was still young and how he's prospering under my guidance. Anyways, let us continue. I use math to calculate my loan rates from the bank over time using the compound interest rate formula. Anyways, when I first saw KJ, I gave him $1 million, but we will get back to that later. Let us continue.
So this is how I started. I was about 15, 16.
16 years
Straight.
old.
I didn't go to high school, you know why? I was on the streets.
He was on the streets,
Nowhere to
homes,
go.
the homes.
I had one potato. My grandmother gave me this before she died. She gave me this. She said, KJ, take this and make something out of it. You know what? I took that to heart. You know what I did? I planted the potato. I'd have no land. I had to go to the homeless shelter. Homeless shelter.
Homeless shelter.
Planted it. One potato. 10 weeks. I got 3 potatoes. I planted those. 10 more weeks. More potatoes start growing. And you know what? I started to think, maybe I can actually get out of here. Maybe I can make it. I kept planting. And soon enough, I had 500 potatoes. And then I met Sir Tob.
Let us continue to the next slide and we will explain.
Next slide, we'll explain.
Next slide, let us explain. Here is my math. I use the compound interest rate formula to use my bank loans. Here's an example. This right here is my compound interest formula for the amount of money that I gave to Gilbert when I first met him. And you know how I met him? I saw him and he was carrying about 5 to... How many potatoes would you say it was?
I've said about 500.
About 500 potatoes on his back. And I said, Senor, what are you doing with those potatoes? Because this was back in my home. This was back in Mexico when I first met him. I thought he was speaking Spanish. Anyways, I saw him. I said, Senor, what are you doing with all those potatoes? He said, I'm farmer. I live behind the homeless shelter. I said, sir, what is your name? He said, my name is Gilbert.
True story.
True story. And that is when I fell in love with his character. And I said, sir, I can see right now that you were very good at critical thinking. And I know that if I enroll you into the Mathematica 3 class, you will be great farmer. So I invested in him and I gave him $1 million. And I gave it to him for the low price of 12% every 2 months. He paid it off in 3 years. That's how successful he was. It brings a tear to my eye when I think about it, how much money he gave me. $400,000. Anyways, let us continue to the next slide. These are the critical thinking assets.
You are more likely to be better financially.
This is true.
Say, Tob, tell us how.
Let me tell you the story of my great-grandfather. Back in World War III, or World War, I cannot remember. He was shot. There's so many world wars since the 2020s. Let us continue. He was shot in the right stomach, right here, in his breast. Stomach in his breast. He was shot right here, laying on the floor, and I grabbed him and I said, Grandpapa, please do not look into the light. He said, he looked at me, he grabbed me in my shirt, and he said, son, there is one thing I have to let you know. And I said, Papa, anything, what would you like to say? And he said, if you are very good at critical thinking, you are more likely to be better financially. I said, oh, Papa, what are you talking about? He said, when you go to the job interview, everyone looks at you and he says, oh, what a smart young man. And he grabbed me by my shirt and he said, that could be you. And I looked at him and I said, it would be me, Papa. It would be me, Papa. And he grabbed me by the shirt and he said, I have one last thing to say. And I said, what is it, Papa? And he said, you will climb the ladder faster because you are smarter than everyone else. You will work harder than everyone else. And lastly, and then he died right in my arms, like a little baby. So I took him back out and I used him as manure for my rice. And that's how I became a great rice farmer. Let us continue to the next slide.
If you use critical thinking, back in my day, I took Math 3, I say, this is useless. When do I ever need to use this?
It's not true.
I told my teacher,
Mr. Rodrogos.
Mr. Rodrogos. Mr. Rodrogos. I say, why do I need to use this, Mr. Rodrogos? She say, you might use it. You might never use it, but critical thinking and teamwork is where you develop your skills. And I say, Mr. Rodrogos, you got the point. So you know what I did? I kept working in that class. I passed the class with 2,000. 2,000, I don't know how.
2,000 points. That's over 200 times.
Over 200.
Over 200. It's about 200 times better than average top score.
I take the class, right? I took it serious, unlike the other children in the class.
Yes, he did take it very
Took it
serious.
I use it everywhere I go. Critical thinking, especially physically. I was walking my son. We was in the village now. You know how I really get in the village. We was just walking, you know, saying hi to the villagers, trying to trade some stuff, you know. and I spot a pack of lions, 90 degrees,
But
pi over 2 radiance,
this is
over
true.
there. I say, oh my gosh, son, Toucan by my side, grab my spear. I start shaking.
Shaking him.
And
like
you
a
know what
prisoner.
they ran away. Guess what? If I didn't take Math 3 and develop my critical thinking skills, me and my son would have been lion meat.
His son would have been raised by the lions and Tistians. He would have never learned
Like the
human
Jungle
nature.
Book. If you've seen the Jungle Book, you would know how it goes.
He was raised inside of the chimpanzee. Yes. Anyway,
Yes.
let us continue to then. All right. Anyways, if you stick around this long, you will know that Math 3 is a very important part of our curriculum, and you will know that it has been for the last 40 years. So, what we propose to you is to keep Math 3 into the curriculum. Let's say a year. Forever.
Forever. You know why?
Critical thinking skills, number 1.
It keep my son safe. Me and my son.
It keep his son safe. He is not raised by lion intestines. Number 2.
What is number 2?
The compound interest, you dummy. I swear to God. Compound interest. I use it to give him his loan. I use it to write him up his loan reports. He pay me back on full every time, sometimes more than full. I keep it though. I don't tell him. Number 1. Number 3.
Tres.
Number 3.
Tres.
Number 3. Are you from Africa or Mexico? I have no clue.
I'm in the middle.
The middle of Africa and Mexico. Number 3. He
We
used
use exponential formula. Take potatoes, times it by the weeks.
That's true. And you take the x and you stick it up at the top like an exponent.
Yep.
So, in conclusion, keep Math 3 forever. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. We hope you learned something from it. We hope we touched your hearts with our heartwarming stories. Have a great day and continue on doing what you're doing as long as what you're doing is keeping Math 3 in the curriculum. Have a great day.
Wakanda.